Cleveland Guardians turned heads in 2024, winning the American League Central while making it to the championship series before getting bounced by the New York Yankees. However, by all accounts, it was a season that far exceeded expectations, and with an important offseason facing them, it required the right moves to ensure that season wasn't just a flash in a pan, and that's where we come in. This marks the 28th rebuild of the Rebuilding October series, which is a series where we rebuild a new team every day across the month of October. So whether you're looking for your favorite team or just generally curious as to how every team will approach the offseason, I've got you covered. And with that, let's get into the video. Before we can talk about who the team will add, it's important to understand who the team will be releasing into the free agent market. Starting with the biggest name on the list, it's Shane Bieber. Bieber would undoubtedly be an ace for the majority of squads across Major League Baseball, already with one Cy Young in his trophy case and a career 3.22 ERA. It makes him a really enticing starter to hit the market as he's about to hit 30 years old. Normally, it'd be near impossible for the Guardians to keep a guy like Bieber in town, mostly due to payroll concerns. But his injury shortened season in 2024 actually makes it possible. There's a world where Bieber will need a shorter tenure to prove it sort of deal before he can get his long term money and stay in Cleveland for another season. However, for this rebuild, that's not going to be what happens. Bieber in this example will get enticing enough money to leave the land and find a home elsewhere. The next name leaving in free agency is Alex Cobb, who only managed 3 starts across the regular season and even missed another start in the postseason. Cobb struggled with everything in 2024, from torn labrum to shoulder issues, and then a blister problem popping up late in the year. We all hope Cobb is in a better spot health wise for 2025, and another team will be banking on that possibility as well, with Cobb getting poached elsewhere. And then there's Austin Hedges. Hedges continues to get contracts in the majors, acting as a secondary defensive first option that can almost act as a coach for teams with young catchers. However, catcher is a position the Guardians really struggled with in 2024, and the team should be more interested in bringing in someone to richen the room with talent. Final potential mover of the team in 2024 is Matthew Boyd. Boyd randomly posted good value numbers for the Guardians down the stretch with a 2.72 ERA across 8 starts, and has actually shown stints of being a league average pitcher when you take into account his last 3 years, posting a 4.14 ERA with a 3.89 FIP. Keeping him in town would add decent depth to a unit that had its struggles in 2024, but just needs to get to the pin relatively unscathed. Boyd has been doing that and would be a solid returning option for cheap. For prospects, the team has 4 players who can make their respective impact on the Major League squad through various means. The first and highest rated is Travis Bazzana, the first overall pick from the 2024 draft. While Bazzana never made it past the high A ball and did not look overwhelmingly impressive there either, Bazzana is set to race through the Guardian system in 2025. Bazzana had a tool set conducive of a really high floor for a player that can shorten his time in the minors. His hit tool and run grade project him as an exceptional player in that regard, while the rest of his game is good enough to not be a hindrance. It'll be a later in the year sort of time frame, and with Jimenez in the spot, it'll be interesting to see how they will go about the changing of the guard for the prospect. Another first rounder the Guardians have set to hit the major leagues next season is Chase DeLauder. DeLauder was able to push his way to AAA last season despite only playing in 39 games, and should be on the outfield radar early in the season. DeLauder just does so many things well on the baseball field, and with his most outstanding tool set being his raw power, which he can get to all fields. Combine that with a good hit tool, arm, and speed, and DeLauder has the potential to be a 5 tool sort of prospect. The immediate needs of the MLB roster are in the center field region, and their DeLauder can handle those duties just fine, but it'll take a month or two into the season for him to get the call. Another name to crack the Major League roster at some point or another throughout the season is Juan Brito. The Guardians are anxious to get Brito to the Major League level, asking the switch hitter to change positions multiple times to match the needs of the Major League roster. This season, Brito added first base and right field to the mix of shortstop and second base. However, position doesn't play into why the Guardians are excited for the Dominican, as Brito is all about the bat. Across his entire tenure in the minors, he has yet to post a season under an 800 OPS, and has been improving his power over that time, hitting 21 homers in 2024. Brito is a sneaky prospect that isn't ranked in the top 100, but absolutely could make a difference for the squad if he can find his role. And then there's the Guardians' 2019 first round pick in the form of Daniel Espino, who looks fantastic every time he steps on the field. However, that's the catch 22 when it comes to the electric right hander, is that he's only posted 4 starts since the start of the 2022 season. It's hard to know what Espino would look like after nearly 3 seasons out of competitive games, but if he can return to the form that once headlined this prospect system, with his fastball, which touched 103 miles per hour, with an exceptional slider and solid changeup and curve, it creates another prospect to get excited about in Cleveland for 2025. For additions, the team would keep it pretty light to stay in lines with the Guardians' traditions, signing only Carson Kelly on the positional player side. Kelly proved a near league average bat for the catcher spot, while also providing solid value behind the dish. Bo Naylor would get his chance to start, but there would be no need to grimace when seeing Kelly walk up to the plate as a backup. And then the team will help the rotation by signing Justin Verlander. Admittedly, the name and the organization don't seem like the most ideal fit, but Verlander is at a point in his career where he cannot demand a lot of money after posting a 5.48 ERA in 2024. He'll be entering his age 43 season, and honestly, he needs a prove it deal to show he can still get it done. Verlander won't be the ace that we all want to remember him for, but his pitches still have pretty good movement, all things considered, despite the downtick in velocity. Verlander is going to have a weird time finding a job in 2025 for a postseason contender, and the Guardians could use his services toward the end of the rotation. And if they can get that above average pitcher that he has the potential to be, that's great. And that's going to do it for the team, bringing the final squad to Bo Naylor, who will get the starting nod at catcher, with Josh Naylor at first, Andres Jimenez at second, with Brian Rocchio at short. Jose Ramirez at third, Stephen Kwan in left, Lane Thomas in center, and John Kinski Noel in right, with Kyle Manzardo as a DH. David Fry would share the DH roles against lefties, with Will Brennan platooning in right field with Noel. Carson Kelly would be the backup catcher, and Daniel Schneemann would be a utility option. Tanner Bieber would headline the rotation with Ben Lively and Gavin Williams, and Matthew Boyd and Justin Verlander bringing up the rear. Would this team be able to head the American League Central once again? They should. They have the pieces that are due to rebound at positions of weakness, and if they can't, they have almost perfect fits in the prospect system to band aid the problems on the Major League roster. The team won't go out and grab the next hot superstar up for contract, but they will continue to play their version of baseball, grabbing quality options and maximizing their ability if everything clicks. It can take them a long way.